Okay, hold on.
Do you want me to introduce?
Okay,
Do you
hold
want
on.
me to introduce myself?
We're live. We're live. Okay. Welcome everybody. This is an episode of Change Starts With Us, Ohio, and today we have Ted Sludder with us. He's incarcerated at Madison Correctional, and he would like to talk a little bit about his parole experience, about some violations that he had. Welcome, Ted.
Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and start.
Yes.
Okay. 2011, I was violated for a fifth-degree felony. They made it two. It was a theft and a B&E charge. There was some other small technical violations. When I went to an interview with the cops that interviewed me for the fifth-degree felony, I just admitted everything. I told him what happened. He told me during the interview that a girl had turned me in that I was living with, and that's basically how my parole violation started. 7 days later, I was taken to a revocation hearing, and I was found guilty of threatening this girl and the stuff that I admitted to. And I fought the threats case, which is a misdemeanor case, because I knew that they would use it against me.
Right.
When I went to my parole violation. So I took that threats case to trial out of the revocation hearing. The thing that got me found guilty of the revocation hearing was the corroborating statement from the police officer that gave me the interview for the fifth-degree nonviolent felony. He got on the stand and said under oath that I told him during the fifth-degree nonviolent felony that I threatened to kill this girl. And it's even in his police report. It's the first line. He said that me told him that I threatened to kill this girl. Well, they used that to convict me for this threats case. I asked him numerous times under oath because I was my own attorney. Did I say this? Did I say that? I asked for the tape of that interview to be subpoenaed, and it was right down the hall in the same county jail. They made up some stuff and said that the camera didn't work that day. A few days later, I went to trial for the B&E, and my lawyer said she had the tape of that, and she had a date on it, and it was prior to my parole violation. So I knew that was a lie. They made up some stuff. This girl that turned me in was a domestic thing, and she was mad at me because I was going to leave her. That's it. There was no threats, no nothing, none of that stuff. 7 days later, I took the threats case to trial.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
I got found not guilty. The case got dismissed with prejudice because she got caught lying on the stand, and so did her son. They were the only ones that took a stand to give testimony, and that's what it said on my paperwork. It says inconsistent testimony. It was dismissed with prejudice. Every time I went to the parole board, that was all that was ever brought up. They didn't say anything about the new felonies. They just kept saying all this stuff about I threatened this girl and all this hearsay stuff that she made up, and they used it against me to keep me in for almost 8 years.
Huh.
I did my time. I got out. Now, this is for a fifth-degree nonviolent felony. They said I had 2 felonies, but when I went to trial for that same thing, the cop recanted his statement because I took the fifth-degree felony to trial just to prove that the cop lied. The cop recanted his statement. My judge took the time to write the parole board in Allen County and tell them that the statement that the officer gave was not on the tape, but they knew it was not on the tape because I had to subpoena the tape from them when I went to trial. But the cop got on the stand and recanted his whole statement, said that I wasn't the one that told him that the girl was. I asked my judge if he would take the time to at least write a letter or something to the parole board. The real reason that I say this is because every time I went to the parole board, they didn't hold the felony, which only carried max a year, against me. They kept saying that I was a threat against this girl and I was going to hurt her, and they made me look like a stalker and all this other stuff. I've never done anything like that in my life. And she had a contact order again for her. They had to contact her before I was let go. And I proved that this girl lied and everything. And they knew she lied from the beginning because she got Crime Stopper money. And before the trial, before I went to trial, they took that Crime Stopper money because she had turned me in first for the 5th-degree felony, which she did with me, by the way. And I wouldn't sign paperwork and stuff, and the cops and stuff were mad because I wouldn't put her in jail. I told them I'd take the weight for it. It's all in my that taped confession where I gave on my interview. Well, I go to prison, do my time, I get out. I go to a halfway house.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
I got my CDL and everything when I was in prison. I get out after they make me do almost 8 years. Go to a halfway house. I end up going back home to Lima. I'm at home for 20 days, and I did mess up. I was taking my monitor off. They were monitoring me from a halfway house in Youngstown, and I was living on the other side of the state in Lima. They wasn't really caring. They weren't caring anything about what I was doing. I mean, I know I had rules that I had to follow. But I did mess up. I took my monitor off. I didn't cut it off. It slid off. They put it on so loose. I just slid it off, and I was going to the bars. This girl seen me, the same girl that's supposed to be a victim in my case, and they're still saying she's a victim in my case, and I proved that there was no threats or nothing. And all this stuff was forwarded to the parole board many times. I gave them all this paperwork. They catch me with my monitor off. Well, unbeknownst to me, they don't say anything to me about any type of, like I threatened her or anything. But when I go to my parole, when I'm arrested, what do you say?
I didn't say nothing, brother.
Oh, okay. When I'm arrested and I go to, they send me straight to CRC. I have my parole violation, and all of a sudden there's paperwork in there with my Division of Parole and Community Service my violation. They got in here with this girl. I seen this girl in a bar on the 26th. I was in the bar first. She walked in. She ended up walking out. I never said there was no words exchanged with this girl on the 26th of December. She gave me the finger when she walked out, and she just left. I'm not really thinking anything. I know there ain't no words was exchanged, nothing. The next day, my parole officer, or the halfway house, calls me from Youngstown and tells me that I got a good report all the way from Lima, all the way back to Youngstown. So they're starting this stuff. This girl probably did call my parole officer, but this is a statement that the parole officer gives in my violation report. It says on 12/27/18, the undersigned received a visit from the offender's victim in his 2011 case, parole violation case, Janet Bates, which for real she shouldn't even be considered a victim because I proved she lied and made up all kind of stuff. She did turn me in for the felony, but she's not a victim in any type of way. It says Miss Bates was claiming to the undersigned that the offender was harassing her, had allegedly vandalized her property, and the offender had been in bars drinking. Miss Bates and the undersigned discussed how she believed it was the offender that was leaving messages on her door and allegedly vandalized her truck. She stated that she just knew it was him. Now, if I left a message on her porch and you're going to take the time to go down and turn me into the cops, and you're going to take the message, there's no message in here. There's no report, police report, or an insurance report that I vandalized any truck or a truck was ever vandalized. It said the underline explained to Ms. Bates that proof would be needed in order to corroborate her claims. She stated that on 12/26/18 that someone was underneath her trailer, and she did call 911. And when the deputies from the Allen County Sheriff's Department arrived, they could not see anything under the trailer. Ms. Bates at that time was adamant it was the offender that was underneath her trailer, and as she stated, she could hear some cutting noises as
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
as if he was cutting through her floor. Again, the undersigned and Ms. Bates discussed numerous other possibilities that it could have been. However, the undersigned indicated to Ms. Bates that the undersigned would check the offender's GPS points on his ankle bracelet to either confirm or not to confirm that he was near.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Okay, call back, brother. Call back, okay?
Okay, I'll call right back.
Okay. That is Ted is at Madison Correctional on the minimum side, everyone. He's sharing his story on the parole board and violations. And it's kind of ironic that we have so many problems with the parole board. And yes, he made some mistakes. He admits to it. But there's a lot of people that made so many mistakes. And he's one of them, but he was able to hopefully reach out and bring awareness on what is happening with him. He'll be coming back in a minute. While you're waiting, you can check out our website at www.changestartswithusohio. Again, that is www.changestartswithusohio. Saved by the bell.
Hello. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Just continue?
Yes.
Okay. After I read this at the report, I tried to explain to them at the hearing that, hey, look, they're acting like this 911 call was some type of proof or something. And they checked the GPS points and did this and did that. It says in the report that my phone was confiscated too. Well, when my parole officer gave my phone back to my aunt, he told my aunt that Allen County Sheriff's Department had dumped my phone and they knew 100% that I had been in that trailer court. Well, I had only been back in Lima for 20 days. I got into town on the 6th to 7th, and I got arrested on the 28th of December. It's nowhere in this report where, I mean, if they were trying to prove that I was in that trailer, it's nowhere in this report that they said that they dumped my phone, but they told my aunt that. My aunt sort of turned against me because they thought, a police officer telling them the truth. Well, anyway, my girl called 911, the office of 911 in Allen County, and found out 100% that this 911 call claim is 100% false. It never existed. Janet Bates never called 911 at any time from that address, ever. So we know that's false. Then my girl took the time to call Allen County Sheriff's Department and asked them. She told them that she was in a criminal justice class, and they were doing a survey, and they were doing a scenario. They were given a scenario. She gave them my exact scenario of a high parolee doing something like that, and what would have happened with my parole.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Would my parole officer have been contacted or anything like that? Did they have any type of fail-safe? The supervisor of the Allen County 911 response team told her, he's got it on tape, that my parole officer would have been contacted immediately that night because that's their fail-safe. If something like that really did happen, they would be responsible if I went back and did anything. He said he would have been contacted immediately that night. Well, she said this 911 call happened on 12/26/18. She reported this on 12/27/18. It has nothing in here where my parole officer says anything about the police getting a hold of him or anything like that. And my report, my violation report wasn't wrote up until January the 4th of 2019. So this man would have had to been contacted by the Allen County Sheriff's Department saying that a high-risk, high-level parolee would have been on at large trying to get this victim. And he would have been responsible for it. The 911 call doesn't exist, so we know that the parole officer knew that this was a lie when he wrote it on this paper. And he's 100% in on this felonious behavior. They're trying to claim that I broke into this girl's house, and they're trying to make me look like a stalker. Now, when I went to the parole board, they brought all this stuff up. They didn't say anything about the technical violation. They said I was minimizing, and one of the parole board members, who was a high-ranking parole board member, when I went back up the last time, looked me right in my face on the camera and said, "I think you did all these things." He said, "And I think you got away with it." He goes, "But we got enough proof now to hold you in here."
I have a feeling I know which parole officer said that.
I'm not even sure of the man's name, but I knew he was a high-level parole member because the guy that was directing my case told me that.
Mr. House.
He said this guy's when they announce people, they tell you their rank and everything.
Right. Was it Mr.
Looked at me, right?
Yeah, was it Mr. House?
Right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Was it Mr. Houck?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Okay.
I just know he looked me in my face and told me that they thought I did all these allegations and I just got away with it. I didn't do any of these things. I was in jail, prison 8 years. I never even knew where this girl lived. She had a whole new address.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Before I left, the guy looked at me and told me, he goes, it's a shame, Mr. Sludder, if you'd have had your monitor on, he goes, you could prove all these things wrong. In other words, like if I had my monitor on, it would have made a big difference whether I got denied or released. They gave me 2 more years for this. I have had no tickets. I've been in no trouble. I'm in a level 1 camp, and all I'm in prison for is a technical violation. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say I didn't do anything wrong. I did. But I mean, there's people in here for raping kids and doing all kind of crazy stuff, and they're doing 3, 4 years. These people are trying to make me do 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years, or whatever they want to do. And they're using all hearsay stuff, and it's all manufactured evidence that I can prove 100% that they manufactured. I mean, they're trying to make people look like something that they're not. I mean, they owe me that my last violation. My judge put in my judgment entry that when I went to trial, that the parole board owed me 8 months of my county jail time because I was being held in the county jail for a parole violation. I wrote the parole board and told them that when I first went in, and they denied me that time. And I never got it. I got 8 months county jail time that I've never got 1 day credited for. And the parole board basically told me, if you write us any more about this, no further correspondence. We won't even write you back. In other words, we don't care what the judge said. I mean, it's in my judgment entry. That's the law. I mean, they just break the law. They do whatever they want, and they don't have any governing board that tells them what to do except them. So I don't understand how our directors of the prison and stuff are doing parole board reform when they don't even have they don't have any bylaws, they don't have any guidelines. They do whatever they want, and they make up and manufacture evidence and use it against you, and with no proof. Well, now I've got proof that they've lied and done a lot of wrong things, and I'm hoping that we can get somebody to hear this and actually step up and take the time to do something about it. We're always looked at as the lower level class of humans. So, anything that basically happens to us, they don't care. My judge told me when I went to trial that the cop completely recanted his statement about the threats thing, and it's right there on his report. And then he told me, he said, Mr. Sludder, he goes, if you think I'm jeopardizing this guy's job because he told a lie, I said, well, last time I checked, I telling a lie on the stand is perjury, sir. I said, that's a 3rd-degree felony. I said, I'm going to prison for a 5th-degree non-violent felony. I said, I mean, just because he's a cop, he can manufacture evidence and do things. They do whatever they want, basically. I'm just looking for somebody to help me, and I've got the proof. I've got all this stuff on tape, and luckily my girl that I got took the time to do this for me. And that's basically my story. I'm sort of at a standstill right now. I'm getting ready to go to the parole board in 10 months, and I'm hoping I can get an early hearing and get out because of all this COVID stuff. I've had COVID twice since I've been here in prison, and
wow,
that's basically my story.
Yeah, we understand how the pro board definitely is not fair. They will exaggerate. They will automatically take the victim's side. If there is a victim, a lot of times there isn't.
Exactly.
But they don't give people a fair hearing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, James, when my parole officer came to see me, the first time I got parole violated, her name was Wendy Doherty. My parole officer now was James Zermetta. Both of these are out of the Allen County Lyman Department.
Right.
But my parole officer looked at me. She goes, if it makes you feel any better, because they were acting like this girl was a victim. She goes, if it makes you feel any better, she goes, we took the Crime Stopper money back from the girl. That's how I knew that they did. We took the Crime Stopper money back from the girl, so she never got that. I said, well, that doesn't make me feel any better if you're going to make me look like something that I'm not. They knew exactly what was going on.
Right.
They knew that this girl wasn't a victim. They knew 100%, and they're still putting this girl down as a victim on my stuff. And what made me so mad is the last time before I got ready to get out, she had a contact order. I mean, she had to be contacted before I was released. That's crazy. I mean, I never did anything to this girl. She just turned me in. And the girl, the felony that I did, we broke into a warehouse and took some furniture. All the furniture went in her house, and she's the one who took me there. She showed me the place. It was one of her landlords. I mean, this is all documented and everything. When I took it to trial, I brought all this stuff out. They didn't care.
Right.
I mean, they more or less picked the lesser of two evils and went with her and took her story, and they twisted all the stuff around with me. And like I said, am I saying I'm not innocent? No. But did I deserve to do almost 8 years in prison? I never had any tickets. They started me off at a level 3 Mansfield, and I went all the way down to a level 1, got my CDO and everything. I did 8 years there's people that are killing people.
This call is originating from an Ohio correctional facility and may be recorded and monitored.
Just like this violation, I'm a technical violator. And, I mean, they took me back up and read me the riot act because of all this hearsay stuff. This is felonious behavior. I mean, I can prove that they made all this stuff up. If this girl did it, I mean, I've got proof that the parole officer let it happen and he let her make it up. I don't even think that she even went down there. I think she called and said she seen me in some bars and they made this up. Because if I could get somebody to go down and interview this girl and put her under the gun and say, hey, look, we know you made this stuff up. You gave false testimony to a police officer. Because a parole officer is a police officer. I bet you the true story would come out because she'd get scared then thinking she was going to get in trouble. Because I just don't think the girl would make all this up. And even if she made it up, the parole officer knew that she made it up because under the fail-safe thing that the supervisor told my girl on the tape, he would have been contacted that very night. He didn't even write my parole paper up until almost a week later. He knew this was fake. You know?
Right.
I think they all made it up.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I've been a lot of things in my life, but I've never been a stalker. I've never tried to hurt anybody. I mean, outright, I've never. This girl didn't mean. I left this girl 3 or 4 times. I mean, it was nothing remotely like that. I mean, they're just making me to look like I was a stalker and I'm out to get this girl for whatever, and she's a big victim in my case and all this stuff. I've been married before. I've never had a domestic violence. I've never had nothing. When I said that to my parole officer, I said, I've never had a violent charge. She goes, well, you were in for armed robbery before. She goes, that's violent. I said, well, what does that have to do with this girl? And they don't care. They're just going to do whatever they want. So
yeah,
hopefully somebody will hear this.
Yeah.
And, I know my girl was talking to Annette Chambers Smith Monday morning. She's supposed to be calling her and talking to her, the director of the prisons. I'm going to see if I can get something done talking to her, and I guess she can listen to this on this tape. I'm going to give her this website.
Okay, why don't you give our good folks your contact information?
My name I'm at Madison Corrections. I'm 614-764. They can contact me. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. They can contact me here anytime. I'm at the level 1 prison. I've been here for almost, I'm working on my 3rd year now. I go to the parole board in October. I know it's only 7 months, but when I go back, I got a 175-year tail from my original charge back in the early 90s. And this is the kind of stuff that they do for old law. They keep stretching you out. These new law guys come in with the same thing that I've got, and the most they give them is 8, 9 months, 5 months, 4 months. I mean, we're definitely held to a higher standard, and we get punished a whole lot more for the same things that these new law guys do, and they come in and get 3 or 4 months. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, I did almost 8 years last time for my last parole violation, and all I had was a 5th-degree nonviolent felony.
Right.
That carries max a year. These new law guys, if they get that, they do 6 months, 5 months. If I know a new law guy that came back under the new PRC law, and he had a gun in his possession, and they only made him do 5 months.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Okay.
If I got caught with a gun under the old law, they'd make me do 10 years.
Okay.
And they could make me do whatever they wanted.
Okay, we'll have you back on sometime next week, brother.
All right, bro. I appreciate it, James. You take care of yourself, and happy holidays. And
thank you.
Thanks for your time and all your help. I'll call you back. Or you can JPay me. You got my JPay.
Yes.
Whenever you want me to call back or anything.
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right, James. Thank you, brother.
Hey, folks, this is another gentleman that needs our help. We need to bring out awareness on him. Please share our videos. It's not about getting views. It's about getting help. And maybe the right person will start responding. We got George Gates. We got John Peters. We got so many different people that are wrongfully convicted that really need to be released, folks. And some of them are totally innocent. Our website again is www.changestartswithusohio.org. www.changestartswithusohio.org. Our email is changestartswithusohio@gmail.com. changestartswithusohio@gmail.com. My personal phone number is 380-799-3868. Folks, have an awesome Saturday.